Hey. Oh yeah, we finished number 8, didn't we? I decided to get my last beer. The squinty eye is just because I feel like shit. It's partly because of the beer, but it's also because I have a naturally squinty eye. And I haven't been to the opticians for a very long time. Sorry. Anywho, I decided to get my last beer so that I was ready, because there's only a little bit of this one left. And I think one beer for the whole thing, it's probably a fair compromise, right? One fag, one beer, one whole beer, not one semi-beer. Anyway, I'm waffling too much because I don't want to read it. And I don't want to go to court. I don't want to have to talk about this. Anyone want to swap? Let's swap. Let's do a swap. You be me. Freaky Friday shit. But Weird Wednesday. Anyway, number 9. 9. The traffic noise subsides at night, however. Although I am physically exhausted, I find that without the noise, my mind is better able to function. And this used to really, and it still does, really piss me off, then won't shut up. Which also impacts the way I react when I am alone in the house for any period. When the road is quieter, my mind begins to function better, so lots of things I haven't been able to think or do are being rapidly recalled, but so quickly that I find I am almost incapable of holding one down for more than a moment or two. It's just like chaos. It's just like thought chaos. And again, these are things that I still struggle with now, and are the reason that I need that long-term talking therapy. I mean, when you say long-term, it could be anything over 12 weeks. So you're talking roughly 12 weeks to maybe 24. It might be an ongoing thing, but it doesn't mean I'm unable to work. Once I've got those things in place, once I've got the main hurdles addressed and overcome with that talking therapy, which is only £10 a week, but then there's the travel costs, and I don't have the £10 a week in my budget to spare, let alone the travel costs to be able to go to that weekly appointment. And it is means tested for people on benefit. So as it currently stands, my hands are tied behind my back. I cannot access the therapy I need, and in order to do that, I would have to go back to working full time, which would make a further breakdown inevitable, because I know I'm not in a position to take on that kind of I'm not even sure what the right word is. Stress, I suppose, to take on the level of stress of securing, and as I said in there earlier, in a previous point, the idea of securing, learning and mastering a new role when all of that shit is still going on and it's right there and there's no control on it. Yeah, that makes a tertiary and probably a lot worse breakdown inevitable. There's no other way around it. If I do not deal with the issues that I have to overcome, then I'm going to break again. You don't put a sticking plaster on a broken arm. It's as simple as that. Anyway, sorry about rambling. Number 10. We're nearly finished. There's 13 points. Number 10. Since realising and accepting my current condition, I am already beginning to improve. The eczema, which had suddenly appeared after many years without a problem, is dissipating. I'm getting that again too. Since being homeless, obviously the stress levels increased when we became homeless, and I'm getting random patches of eczema, and especially in my scalp, which is really annoying because people think you're a mum, you got nicks, and it's not on. Anywho, I am continuing and expanding upon support from Mind, although that did fall through, but that's another story and is not one for publication, and other organisations. I am also making good steps towards positive self-care and mindfulness practice, which is something I've always sworn by, but again, that's for another discussion. 11. To further strengthen, enhance and support my children during and along with my recovery and our overall well-being, brackets, as individuals and as a family unit. I have been focusing almost solely on spending as much quality time away from the house as possible. Now, this is something that's kind of gone the other way. Since we've been homeless and been in our new home, or more specifically, since I had to go through this reassessment process for my disability benefits, which were supposed to be life secured benefits. When we moved from one county to another, apparently the computer system wasn't set up to deal with that, and so it triggered the reassessment process. And for some reason, even though the history is the history that it is, my history is the history that it is, because the computer system hadn't passed that information over, it never got taken into account, which is why I'm in the situation I'm in, where I lost the income that would otherwise have paid for my treatment. Sorry, I didn't build your IT system, but I am stuck in the middle of trying to fucking live with it. So this is now the opposite. Whereas we used to go out as much as possible, we now stay home as much as possible, because there is no financial room for anything. So if I take the children out somewhere and they go, "Oh, Mum, can we do that?" and I have to go, "No, sorry," then obviously that causes more stress than being able to go, "Okay, just a little bit, just for a few minutes, just this once." Whatever, it was a possibility before, now it's an impossibility, and if the tribunal doesn't go in my favour, then it will permanently be an impossibility. And as I said before, in terms of my own personal recovery and mental health, it becomes inevitable that there will be another, and probably, most likely, much, 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 much worse, scary fucking shit to think about, breakdown, from which I may never recover, and my children, if I don't recover, where does that leave them? And I'm sorry, but that doesn't bear thinking about. Anyway, so yeah, we were going out, spending as much quality time away from the house as possible. We have taken up expeditions of our surrounding area, along with playing sports as a family, and we have set some goals for us as a family. There has been an unexpected side effect of this. I have identified the nature of work I wish to do that would better complement my well-being and that of the children in the long term, and I'm looking into avenues to achieve this. And actually that stayed consistent, and I am looking into those avenues. I'm actively working on that as much as I can push myself to do. However, as I say, we don't go out anymore as a family as much, because A, there's no money to pay for it reliably, and B, I need that therapy. I don't feel safe, and I need that therapy to be the mum that I need to be. 12. Ooh, here we go. Oh, number 12 goes on to explain what happened next. The situation is deteriorating to the point where I now find it exceptionally difficult to plan and prepare for leaving the house. I have come to realise that this is because I am somewhat anxious by nature. However, as I am no longer able to fully unwind in the house, this is constantly exacerbating issues which I am perfectly capable of managing under normal circumstances. 13, last one. Woohoo! In short, I no longer feel any sense of safety and calm at home. And because of the situation where we've been homeless and there are a lot of antisocial issues in our new locale, this still stands. In short, I no longer feel any sense of safety and calm at home. Although the medication is helping and is still settling at the higher dose, I still descend into blithering and wreck at the thought of contacting my previous employer in order to close outstanding matters. The thought of trying to prepare for an interview or work with a new employer whilst living in this house location has the exact same effect. And again, this was written in 2015. A lot has happened since then, and this still stands true. Because I can't access the long-term talking therapy, is not even an hour, it's 50 minutes per week, and I can't spare the money to pay for that and the bus fare to get there, and so I'm stuck here in this mess. So far, between the medication and my usual management technique, I have managed to keep myself relatively grounded. However, I am very afraid that with increasing traffic noise as a local development progresses, I may struggle further, to put it mildly. Before I read the final paragraph, which is just a closing to the letter, that final sentence was an absolute fucking understatement to the highest order. Because what followed a few months later put me on the maximum dose of the sertraline or Zoloft to our American counterparts. Maximum dose. Plus another drug that functions as an antipsychotic. Because the things I was accused of were so fucked up and weird. And so close to something that happened during my childhood that nobody except my GP and I knew about. Nobody, even to this day, nobody knows the details except me and my GP from my childhood. And that came out 5 years before my breakdown and was under complete control. There was no issue with it. But the things that were launched at me when I owned my breakdown, when I came out and publicly said, hey, I've had a breakdown, it wasn't very nice. Things are getting better. I'm hoping to be back to working soon. That was when the weirdest of the weird shit happened. And it had nothing to do with me. It was to do with people outside of myself and my children. Not one of them, due to the laws that were used at the time by those receiving the complaints. Not one of them has ever been held to account and potentially will never be held to account. But amongst other things, I was accused of wanting to kill my own children and myself. That is the opposite of the person that I am. And everything I've just read to you and that hurts me so much happened before I was accused of wanting to do that, and before we were made homeless, and before I had my disability allowance taken away from me. And the moment I knew that I needed to go for that treatment, within moments, metaphorically speaking, I identified and spoke and got the referral through to the service that I need to go to from the NHS. And within a week of filling in the paperwork, I was waiting for my next benefits payment, which would have paid for the stamp and the upcoming appointments for me to access the therapy over a year ago now. And that was when the money was stopped. And honest to goodness, I actually don't know how I've kept going. I think it's purely the hope that the tribunal goes in my favour and that I can get to see a therapist. I'm pretty sure that's the only thing that's kept me going. Obviously, my children, without saying, they're my everything. But that hope, the hope that I can get to see a professional that can help me put all of this to bed, that hinges on the tribunal. Because September last year, I had the income to pay for it. October last year, I didn't, because apparently I didn't need it. And I don't understand how the system can do that. And that's why I've recorded these segments. And yeah, I hope my tribunal goes in my favour, but I hope no one else has to go through this. What about the next guy? To close the letter out with, I read the opener, I might as well read the close, and also it gives me an end point to this shit show. I believe this covers everything. Please accept my apologies for such a long and drawn-out list of points. I've done my best to be consistent and coherent throughout. However, please do not hesitate to get in touch if there are any queries. I am well aware that this is not my best work. Many thanks in advance. Sincerely, Muggins. Fuck it. Don't be me, guys.